The night I delivered pizza. Imagine delivering a pizza on a hot, humid summer night, the kind where sweat clings to your neck before you even step outside, where the air feels thick enough to chew and streetlights buzz like dying insects. Now, imagine realizing halfway through that delivery that something impossible is unfolding around you, something silent, something watching, something you can't outrun. My name is Chris. I was 17 that summer, working graveyard shifts at Tony's Slice, a greasy, flickering lit pizza joint on the ragged edge of my hometown. The job was soul-crushing. Stained uniforms, broken ice machines, and a delivery car that rattled like it was held together by prayers and duct tape. I didn't own a car yet, so at least I didn't have to worry about wrecking my own. Small mercies. The pizza, don't get me started. Soggy crust, rubbery cheese, toppings that tasted like regret. But the real horror wasn't the food, it was the silence. Most nights, the phone never rang, just me, the fridge's low drone, the AC wheezing like an old man, and the occasional flicker of overhead lights that made the shadows twitch. Then came that order, large sausage and olive. Address? Way outside our zone, past the last gas station, beyond the broken streetlights, into the part of town where Google Maps starts guessing. I almost canceled it, but Russell, my manager, a guy who treated Reddit like a full-time job, shrugged and said, "Just go. Tip might be good." The instructions taped to the box sent a chill down my spine. Park on the street behind the house. Walk through the backyard. Knock on the back door. Only no please, no explanation. Just cold, clipped commands. I told myself maybe they were avoiding neighbors. Maybe the front steps were broken. Maybe anything normal. But deep down, my gut twisted. The drive felt wrong from the start. The GPS led me down narrow alleys, lined with sagging fences and overgrown yards. No porch lights, no barking dogs, just the crunch of gravel under my tires and the oppressive weight of the night. The air smelled like wet earth and something faintly rotten, like forgotten fruit, baking under the sun. I parked where the note said, grabbed the pizza, flashlight in one hand, lukewarm box in the other. The backyard was a jungle, waist-high weeds, broken lawn chairs swallowed by ivy, a fence leaning like it was trying to escape, and there it was, a plain white back door, small curtained window, dead, quiet. I knocked, once, twice. The curtain twitched, not a full pull, not a face, just a twitch, like something behind it had flinched. My breath caught. I took a step back. That's when the cars appeared. Two black sedans, no markings, rolled silently onto the gravel behind me. Doors opened without sound. Men in dark clothes stepped out, not uniforms, but tactical vests. Flashlights swept the yard. Badges glinted under the moonlight. Undercover, professionals. One officer raised a hand. Stay back. Another tested the doorknob I just knocked on. It turned. He nodded to his partner. They didn't enter, just waited, guns drawn, silent, still. I stood frozen, pizza forgotten at my feet, my heart hammered against my ribs. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a weird customer. This was something real, something dangerous, something I was never meant to witness. Minutes stretched like taffy. Sweat dripped down my temple. I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't dare look away. Eventually, more cars arrived, voices, low and urgent. Radios crackled. The house stayed dark. No screams, no sirens. Just containment. They never told me what was inside. Never explained why they were there. Never asked me anything beyond my name and if I'd touched the door. I got my tip, $20, left on the porch by someone I never saw. I drove back in silence, hands shaking on the wheel. The smell of oregano and grease now mixed with the metallic tang of fear. Years later, I still dream about that twitching curtain, that silent backyard, those unmarked cars. Some nights, I wonder if they caught whoever was inside, or if, maybe, they're still waiting, watching, listening, because some deliveries don't end when you leave the porch. Some follow you home. Story 2. The Beach House Mystery. Imagine inheriting a quiet beach house, sun-bleached shingles, salty air, the distant crash of waves, only to discover that peace was never meant to last, that the past doesn't stay buried, that sometimes the thing you fear most isn't a ghost, but a man who never left. After my father passed, we inherited the house in Rehoboth, a modest, cedar-sided cottage just a block from the boardwalk. Not fancy, not new, but perfect. Mornings meant coffee on the porch. Evenings meant sand between our toes and ice cream dripping down my kids' wrists. Jordan, my eldest, would chase crabs at dusk. Scott, barely 6, built lopsided castles with moats that the tide always stole. We laughed, we healed, we thought we were safe. Then came the scratching. It started the third night. Jordan burst into my room, eyes wide, whispering, "Dad, There's something in my wall. I brushed it off. Old houses groan. Wind rattles loose shingles. Branches tap against glass. I checked his room. Nothing. Tucked him in. Kissed his forehead. Told him monsters don't live at the beach. I was wrong. At 2:17 a.m., I woke to it. Not scratching this time. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Rhythmic. Coming from inside the wall beside my bed. Not the attic. Not the crawl space. Inside the wall. Like something was pressed against the other side of the drywall. Inhaling. Exhaling. Listening. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Every hair on my neck stood rigid. My pulse hammered in my throat. I reached for my phone. No signal. The power flickered just once, and in that half second of darkness, I heard it shift. A scrape, a sigh, then a scream. Not human, not animal. Something in between. Guttural, furious, ripped from a throat that hadn't spoken in months. It came from downstairs, from the living room, from right behind the sliding glass door. I lunged out of bed, scooped up Scott from his room, grabbed Jordan by the wrist. Run! We bolted upstairs to the master bedroom, the only room with a lock. I shoved the dresser against the door. My hands shook. Scott sobbed into my shirt. Jordan stared at me like I'd failed him. Then, thud, something heavy slammed against the sliding door downstairs. Again. Glass trembled. The frame groaned. I peered through the upstairs window. A figure, tall, barefoot, skin caked in grime and salt, hair matted like seaweed. He was slamming his full weight against the glass, mouth open in a silent roar, eyes wild and white in the moonlight. His fingers, broken nails, dirt-crusted, clawed at the door handle, rattling it like a rabid dog. "Daddy!" Scott screamed. I braced my shoulder against the bedroom door, listened to the chaos below. Wood cracked, metal shrieked. He was getting in. Then sirens, blue and red lights, flashed across the ceiling. Shouts, boots on gravel. The banging stopped. A scuffle, a muffled yell, silence. The police found him curled under the porch, in a crawl space barely 3 feet high, hidden behind warped lattice and decades of beach grass. He'd been there for months, maybe longer, ate from our trash cans, drank from the outdoor shower, watched us through cracks in the floorboards as we laughed over pancakes, as my kids built sandcastles, as we slept. They never released his name, said he had no ID, no history, just a man who slipped through the cracks until he decided to break through ours. We sold the house 3 weeks later, couldn't bear to sleep there, couldn't stand the sound of the tide at night, because now every wave sounded like breathing, every creak sounded like scratching, every shadow looked like him. The police said he's locked up, said he can't hurt us, but locks don't matter when he's already inside your head. Some intruders don't break windows, they break your sense of safety, and once that's gone, you never get it back. Story 3. The Night We Vanished. While stargazing. What happens when the stars blink, and you blink with them, when the world doesn't end with fire or fury, but with silence, with absence? This is the story of the night my best friend and I disappeared. Not one after the other, but at the same time. And neither of us remembers how we came back. I grew up where the sky still owns the night. Rural Pennsylvania, miles from streetlights, where the Milky Way spills like shattered glass across the heavens. Taylor and I had been chasing stars since we were kids. Blankets, cheap wine, binoculars duct taped together. Our sacred ritual. That July night was no different. Warm breeze, crickets humming, fireflies flickering like fallen constellations. We biked to the old Miller field, abandoned for decades. Just grass, crickets, and sky. No fences, no houses, no witnesses. We spread our blanket, uncorked the wine, bitter, cheap, perfect. Laughed about teachers, crushes, dumb campfire ghost stories. Pointed out Orion's Belt, Cassiopeia, the Big Dipper. Names we gave to patterns we didn't understand. Time didn't matter. The world felt soft, safe, infinite. I closed my eyes, just for a second. Let the breeze brush my cheeks. Felt the earth beneath me, solid and real. I opened them. Taylor was gone. Not stepped behind a tree. Not went to pee in the bushes. Gone. Her bike vanished. Her shoes, still on the blanket. Her half-finished wine glass, warm to the touch. I shouted her name. Once, twice, 10 times. My voice cracked. The field swallowed the sound. No echo, no answer. Just silence. Thicker than before. Heavier. Panic clawed up my throat. I ran circles around the blanket, checked behind every hillock, called her phone. Straight to voicemail. No signal bars flickered. No texts, no missed calls, nothing. Then, my phone buzzed. A text. From Taylor. Greater than, "Where are you?" I turned around and you were gone. Bike, blanket, everything. I'm screaming your name. Answer me. Sent. 3 minutes ago. My blood turned to ice. She hadn't vanished. I had. To her, I was the one who disappeared. In the same moment, the same blink, the same breath of wind. We found each other an hour later, stumbling toward the road from opposite ends of the field, flashlights trembling in our hands, voices raw from screaming. We hugged so hard I thought my ribs would crack. We cried. We laughed. Hysterical, broken laughter. We swore we'd never go back. But we did. The next night. With cameras. With voice recorders. With GPS trackers taped to our wrists. Nothing happened. The stars glittered. The wine tasted the same. The grass whispered under the wind. We watched each other like hawks. Didn't blink at the same time. Didn't close our eyes. Didn't look away. Nothing. We tried again the week after. Same field. Same blanket. Same stars. Still, nothing. Doctors called it shared dissociation. Psychologists called it trauma-induced false memory. Astronomers shrugged and said, maybe a localized atmospheric anomaly. None of it mattered. Because we knew. Something took us. Not far. Not long. But elsewhere. And it let us go. But not before leaving a crack in our understanding of reality. A hairline fracture in time, or space, or perception. Years later, we still meet every summer. Still bring the wine. Still point at the stars. But we never close our eyes at the same time. And sometimes, when the breeze is just right, when the silence stretches too long, we both flinch. Because we know the universe doesn't need monsters to be terrifying. Sometimes it just needs to look away and take you with it.